United, who have sold everybody under the sun this window, have brought in a ton of money. However, they need to start spending some money to make replacements. Obviously, as we know, they've moved on from Almada, Caleb Wiley, and Yakumakis, and have brought in roughly $40 million to spend some of the money they have already. In an absolute perfect move, Atlanta have gone and brought in someone from Atalanta. That needs to be a connection immediately between those two clubs. They've brought in Alexei Miranchuk for 12 million euros. He's an Russian attacking midfielder. Big money signing for them. Seemingly the Thiago Almada replacement. I'm assuming you're going to want me to give my thoughts first, but
Go right ahead.
uh,
It's your show, man. Today at least.
so I'm not 100% sure how to feel about this. I mean, it's obviously a big money move, and I think it's a different type of big money move from a team like New England, who spent a lot of money to bring in Langoni. Uh, Moranchuk, I think, has more on his CV to back up the fee than Langoni does. He was most recently playing with Atalanta, played about 1,200 minutes to help them finish fourth. He had 3 goals, 5 assists. Not exactly sure where he plays for them, if he plays in a 10 or if he plays a little bit deeper. His goals and assists make it feel like maybe he's playing a little bit deeper. But one really interesting thing that I did learn from, I think maybe the Atlanta subreddit, was that he was one of the best across all of Europe in terms of chance creations per 90. So he is a very good playmaker, which I think could be a great tool for this team. The only thing that has me worried is we're adding the playmaker before we've added anybody to finish the chances. I think Rios has done a really good job, but I think that's a temporary thing because it's just a loan move. Maybe they make it permanent. I don't know. But it's going to be, I think I'm tentative to be super excited about it until I see who they bring in to bolster the attack, specifically in terms of striker. But I think there's good potential there. It could be a very good move for them. He's very experienced, and obviously, as I mentioned, is a very good playmaker for them.
So I think you're just kind of glossing over this run of the Europa League that they were in, where when he was given the time to play, he picked up 4 assists in the last game of the group, but also,
It's because FBref doesn't have any of the Europa
see,
League
that's
stuff
why
on
you
there.
use bad stats. Dude played in 10 of the 13 Europa League final game or Europa League games. I don't, whatever, made up tournament. Um, and when given the time to actually play, right, more than 5-10 minutes, he picked up 4 assists, 3 of them in 2 games in the round of 16 against Sporting CP in Portugal, and that got
He assisted
them.
every goal in that
He
leg.
assisted every goal in that tie, right?
Mhm.
And then doesn't play against Liverpool, doesn't really play against Marseille, doesn't see the field against Leverkusen. But the fact that he was able to perform at that level, because we talk about it all the time, like people get all hyped, like, oh my God, he played in the Champions League. And then it's like he had one appearance for 3 minutes, and it's like, but it still counts. No, this guy actually performed in the European cups, right? He was solid in about 3,000 minutes for both Atalanta and Torino, where he picked up 7 goals, 8 goals, and what is that, 14 assists or so in 3,000 minutes. Tons of, as you mentioned, tons of chance creation ability, and really, really excited for what he can bring. He's got a good trophy cabinet, and I have no doubt in my mind that Gareth Lagerwey is ready to build around him. This feels so Nico Ladero 2016 when he did that at Seattle, right? It feels so much like that, where they didn't have a great team around him at the time. They brought him in. He was able to make it work with whatever they had, and then they put the pieces around him, and they go on and are one of the best teams for half a decade. That's what this feels like it's setting up for me.
Well, I'm here hoping that you're right. However, you do have a track record of jinxing things, so
Oh, did I say that intentionally? Oh, sorry.
the only thing that's making so for those that haven't really like followed Atlanta's transfers over the last few transfer windows, they've gone from a they've shifted their like transfer, I don't want to say policy, but their ideology, I guess, where when they started off as a team in the league, it was very heavily focused on bringing in South American talent and not necessarily only from the South American League. Obviously, Josef came over from the Italian League, but it was like Miguel Almiron, Tito Villalba, Josef Martinez. It's all like South American talent. And in the last few transfer windows, it's been a complete shift over to European talent,
Mm-hmm.
where you're bringing in Yakumakis, you're bringing in Sabalo Janitze, you're bringing in Jean de Silva, now Moranchuk as well. And it hasn't worked so far, but I'm willing to give it more time because I don't think they've brought in the right coaches to work with that talent. So I'm hoping that, I mean, I've seen them rumored with Patrick Vieira. I think I'd be very on board for that. But if they can bring in the right coach to match these transfers, I think it could be beneficial. But it does give me a little bit of pause because it hasn't worked so far.
Well, I think the difference here, right, is this is a guy 28 years old in his prime. You're paying big money for him to get over here. I think you need to surround him. But again, you've got Saba Lobjanidze out there. You've got Jean de Silva. You've got Daniel Rios and TRA. And you've got players in there who at least can get a job done for now, right? We're talking about a team that's sitting just on the edge of the playoffs. We're talking about a team that is trying to hold on best they can. 35 goals scored. You're looking at a top four that's at least over 40. So if you can get your goals per game up by one or two every couple of games, you're sitting pretty, right? So they just need a little something to get themselves on a run. Then they'll figure it out after that. They're going to have that money for a little bit. And I think it's important that they get it right, right? You've got all this money, and that's really, really great. It would be a complete shame to just go out and spend money on anybody just because they have a transfer market value of 15 million, right? You got to get this right. You have to find somebody that's going to fit the system, and you got to find a coach who's going to make it work, right? And you mentioned that beforehand, like they haven't had the coaches to make it work at this point. You have to be able to put together a team that a coach is going to work well with, right? If you gave Tata Martino a group of MLS vets, a couple of old retired European guys, and one half decent designated player,
Give
I
him a
don't.
Bruce Arena lineup.
Yeah, you give him a Bruce Arena line, he does nothing with it. Respectfully, right? You have to make sure it all fits, and it'd be really, really great just to go in and be like, "Yep, let's go get." Like there was rumors of like Miranchuk's brother is out of contract and bringing him in on a free, and it's like, yeah, that'd be funny, but is it the
It's the
right?
Heel brothers.
Yeah, is it
But
the
make it
right use?
Russian.
Is it the right use of that sort of money? I doubt it. Yeah, a little bit less. Actually, relatively successful in Russia, but yeah, you got to get it right. End of the day, you got to get it right. So I think this is a great starting point. Where you move on from here is important.
Yep, I agree.